Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we share headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We share good ideas, we share questions, suggestions, and all kinds of information about our city, our state, our way of life, our culture, so that we can all connect through this information with each other, with the city, with Puerto Vallarta, as a community of English speaking locals. Today is the first day of March. It is Wednesday, March 1st. And as always, I'm thrilled to be here, but I'm particularly happy today because we have an important announcement to make later on in the broadcast. But even before we go there, how is everybody this morning? I would love to hear your comments on what you're up to, where you're watching from, what your plans are for the rest of the week. And of course, as always, if you're watching live for the first time, it is a pleasure to welcome you. We would love to give you a public welcome. If you write the word new in your comment, that way we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. Nothing fancy, but just a welcome to our community. And of course, if there is something really important on your mind, that you wish to share, it helps a great deal to find your comment amongst the others if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. Today, as always, we have some news. Some of them are fun, others are important. You had asked for a little bit of an explanation on the electoral reform issues that are going on here in Mexico, so I've prepared a little basic something to try to help you understand what's going on. I will be the first to admit that I am not an expert on this issue, but we are all taking baby steps to a better understanding as we go along. So let's get started with the news and take it from there. We love the slanted photograph. Actually, we don't. We don't get it, but hey, who are we to comment on that? Things are looking good this month for Puerto Vallarta as far as cruise ship arrivals are concerned. We have 22 arrivals scheduled at the Maritime Terminal this month, and it all starts with a double arrival this morning with the Discovery Princess and the Disney Wonder. And in the following 3 weeks, there will be 2 double arrivals per week. This past January, Puerto Vallarta welcomed a total of 30 cruise ship arrivals on January, while February featured 19. So things are looking great for the cruise industry in our city. As you know, we get these crews coming to town and people spend a lot of money, and this is good for our city, or at least for the businesses that have managed to negotiate whatever they had to negotiate to make sure that the vans that take tourists around the city make stops at their business. How that works or doesn't work, or whether that is fair or unfair, big mystery. We've always wondered about that, but who are we to comment on that? Today is March 1st, and so the fines for not verifying your vehicle, as the state government has been announcing over the past few months, begin today. Authorities have announced an operative to take place along State Highway 544. This is the highway that goes from Puerto Vallarta through Ixtapa and heads towards San Sebastián del Oeste, Mascota, and points beyond. What are authorities looking for? Well, it's quite simple. If your vehicle's license plate ends with a number 1, you could get stopped and you could be asked for your verification papers, whether you verified or not. And if you haven't verified, you will be fined. And the fines can be as high as 2,475 pesos or 5 times higher than the cost of putting your vehicle through responsible verification, which I understand is 500 pesos. Authorities did indicate that if you get stopped and you get fined, you have 30 days to have your vehicle verified. And if you do that, the fine will be waived. But again, even when we've announced that verification has been slow to begin, it is all happening, and it's happening starting today. What's wrong with this picture? Well, if you consider that the beginning of the construction project along the northbound lateral road on Francisco Medina Asensio was made over a week ago, and things at the intersection with Fluvial Vallarta Avenue look exactly the same as they did then it's clear to see that nothing has advanced just yet. And of course, locals are very concerned about the traffic created at this particular intersection and the fact that it is well known that the project, even with workers going at it constantly, will take several months to complete. It is actually scheduled to be finished in 90 days, which seems rather incredible to me, if you ask me, but who am I to comment on that either? Hopefully, the State Secretary of Infrastructure and Public Works will clarify the reason behind the delay. In the meantime, continue to expect high traffic throughout the city's hotel zone. If you have to move through the city, maybe you want to take shortcuts through Versalles and Fluvial if you are in a hurry. Now, after all the demonstrations that took place throughout the country, throughout Mexico this past weekend, over the proposed electoral reform, many English folk were left wondering what is going on. 2 days ago, I asked you if you wanted more details on this matter, and since some of you seemed interested in learning more, here is a basic explanation of what has been going on. Throughout his presidency, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has expressed concern and even disapproval about the INE, which stands for Instituto Nacional Electoral, or National Electoral Institute. Now, what is the INE? The INE is an autonomous public agency responsible for organizing federal elections in Mexico. That is, those related to the election of the President of the United Mexican States, the members of the Congress of the Union, as well as elections of authorities and representatives at local and state levels. Now, López Obrador, our president, has accused this independent entity of being politically biased and for years has vowed to modify it. So he introduced last year, I think it was last year, a very drastic bill that, according to critics of the current federal administration, would curtail the Institute's autonomy. So the bill was largely rejected. So President López Obrador and his minions went back to the drawing table and reworked the bill, calling it the Plan B, or Plan B, and reintroducing a less drastic version of the original plan. But even Plan B is largely criticized as it would significantly restructure the Electoral Institute by reducing its budget and reducing its labor force by 84.6%. So if there are not enough workers to run the elections, who can guarantee that the elections will not be rigged? Now, Lopez Obrador argues that the cuts would save the country as much as 3,500 million pesos per year, but critics are not buying it. And so, all over the country, people have come out to demonstrate in unprecedented ways. This past February, Mexico's Senate, largely conformed by the Morena ruling party, approved the reform, or Plan B, with 72 votes for it and 50 votes against it. And apparently, all it needs now is President Lopez Obrador's signature to make it official. What exactly will happen moving forward remains unclear, but we will continue digging our nails into this one to better understand what is going on and better hold your hand if you wish to be informed on this particular matter. Now, needless to say, President Lopez Obrador has not been happy with the disapproval of his reform. His latest um, commentary was to not undermine, underestimate, Okay, so apparently 90,000 people uh, went to the Zocalo, which is the big plaza in front of the National Palace in Mexico City, to protest against Lopez Obrador. Now, Lopez Obrador can be praised for having the ability to summon that many people, but who wants to summon that many people that are against your mindset? So the palace, palace of government, has underplayed. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. Have underplayed the numbers, saying that it was no big deal. We had all these marches going on throughout the whole country. But here's the funny thing: just a few days after President Lopez Obrador went and stuck his nose in another country's business, this would be Peru, resulting in the end of diplomatic relationships between Peru and Mexico. Lopez Obrador is now accusing Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State for the United States, for his comments on Mexico's electoral reform issues. And I quote Lopez Obrador when in one of his press conferences, I believe it was yesterday or maybe the day before, he said, "I would like to acknowledge the United States Department of State for their bad habit of meddling in businesses that are not theirs," adding that there is more democracy in Mexico than there is in the United States. Now, I don't know if this is true or false, but what is pretty evident is that President Lopez Obrador is as guilty of sticking his nose in other countries' business as anybody else. Yesterday was the third anniversary of Mexico's first COVID-19 reported case, and Federal Health Undersecretary Hugo Lopez Gatell took the opportunity to announce that even while the pandemic is still active, COVID-19 has stopped being considered a serious illness, adding that people nowadays get gravely ill if they contract it because they haven't been vaccinated. Of course, 3 years ago, like yourself, I was very concerned about the pandemic, but also as importantly to me, 3 years ago, I was twiddling my thumbs and wondering how I was going to move forward and survive and hopefully thrive as an independent worker. As you may recall, the first Coffee and Headlines broadcast took place on the last day of March 3 years ago. So our 3 year anniversary is coming up, and I am very, very excited about that. And this brings us to the end of our news. And now my microphone went wacky. You guys are reporting this. You guys are reporting wacky microphone. I don't know if I wiggle my cables, I can make it go away. And if not, I can switch the microphone to another microphone. Hang on just a second. Let's see how to do this. Hold on. Oh, I fixed it? Hold on. Okay. Is the microphone sound good right now? Maybe it's time for me to change the microphone cable. I've had this cable for some time. Everything seems to indicate That sound is good now? Sound is good now? This is important because we're getting into the good news and the special announcement section of the program. But first, let me tackle the weather as usual. Please keep me posted on the sound quality if you would. Okay, so you don't need. My sound is a little low. Hold on just a second. Do, do, do. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that's better. There you go. We seem to have better levels now. Good heavens. Uh, let's see. You don't need to be a meteorologist to forecast the flood of Baby Yoda merchandise that's about to drown everyone. I understand that there is a new season of The Mandalorian going on or starting today, but I don't watch the show, at least not yet. 26 degrees right now. Humidity is high at 63%. It's beginning to be that time of year. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 79. Our weather forecast. There you go. My goodness, I'm all not getting along with my buttons today. Our weather forecast for today says partly cloudy throughout the day with a high of 29 and a low of 18. Um, Thursday, partly cloudy throughout the day, 29, and is our high temperature and a low temperature of 16. And on Friday, we wrap the work week with a clear day, a high of 28 and a low of 16. And why did I jump to Saturday? I always do 3 days, not four, so I'm going to stop right now. Uh, don't you love all our instructions? I love your feedback, Paula. I don't react well to instructions, but I love the feedback. Is someone pushing my buttons? No, Luna is chilling right next to me. So let's see. Let me see. Hold on. I think I have one more news item that I want to share before we dive into yesterday and other things. I want to let you know that our friends at the Secret Wine Bar have announced their wine tasting event, their next wine tasting event, which will take place on March 14 and 15. What is the subject matter on this one? Mexican wines. So, if you love Mexican wines and would like to learn more about them, or you don't know Mexican wines and would like to learn about Mexican wines, you may want to attend this particular wine tasting. This is probably the third or fourth they've had in the past couple of months, and the past ones have been very successful. So, if this is something you're interested in, I strongly recommend you get your tickets quickly. Yesterday was heavenly. I went into town, connected with a dear friend, recorded a walking tour, got a chance to dance with Dr. Simi, and I have the video somewhere. I want to show it to you. Why not? Why not? Let's see. Paco danced with Dr. Simi. I always get happy when I get a chance to get down with Dr. Simi. You don't get to listen to this, I know, but that's okay. Now, how do I get rid of this overlay? Let me switch over to the chit chat screen so that I don't run into problems right now. So, yesterday was a great day, but most importantly, what happened yesterday is that I had a really wonderful meeting with the nice folk of Raíces. This is the folkloric music group that won the So You Think You Can Rise talent competition on Sunday night at Teatro Vallarta. I don't know if you were there or if you weren't or if you heard about it, but these five very talented musicians took the audience by storm and got rousing standing ovations on their first song. They went to the semifinals that same evening. They performed again, and they went on to win 10,000 pesos, which were doubled by a very generous donor um, at the event. So I am sure that they will be approached by many performing opportunities, hopefully at least one or two at local venues. But what about those of us that are curious about how music works? What about those of us that are intrigued about the harp, the instruments that they play, about how they came together, about what their process has been as they research and celebrate Mexico's folkloric music? So I reached out to them. I reached out to them yesterday, and I am going to be so very happy to let you know that we have scheduled a panel discussion with them as part of my series of music appreciation lectures. This will be an excellent opportunity to learn more about them as performers, learn more about the instruments that they play. There will be demonstration of the instruments. There will be question and answer, so we can ask them specific things that we may be curious about the music. And it will be a great opportunity to support them in their endeavors. Of course, as you know, my music appreciation lectures are come at a cost of 300 pesos per person, out of which the joint co-working hotel takes a percentage, and that's the way things work. But I am happy to announce that for this particular panel discussion, the proceeds or the earnings of the ticket sales, I will not keep them. I will waive my earnings and instead direct the earnings to the musicians. I want this to be our opportunity to support Raíces as they continue, hopefully, an increasingly successful path, professional path here in our city. So you will pay 300 pesos to attend and ask questions and learn more about the instruments, but that money this time around will not go to me. It will go directly to the group. I am honored and I am thrilled to be able to moderate the panel discussion, and learning that their ability to speak English is somewhat, it's a working process, let's say. It'll be my pleasure to serve as an interpreter and translator during the event. Now, this panel discussion will take place on March 23rd. It's a Thursday at 5 p.m. at the usual joint co-working hotel. I will be making poster and announcements shortly after the broadcast today. And of course, 2 weeks prior to that, we will have my upcoming lecture, How to Listen to Jazz, which was requested. And this will be on Thursday, March 9, a week from tomorrow, from 5 to 6:45. Again, 300 pesos cash only at the joint co-working hotel as part of their educational series, Grow by Joint. As you know, Grow by Joint also has cooking classes and language classes and yoga, and of course, my series of music appreciation lectures. Hopefully, we will continue to all contribute to this wonderful initiative by the Joint Co-working Hotel by diving into more topics that might be of interest to the local population. So there you have it. I am so excited. I am thrilled. I can't wait. I'm just giddy. I am just giddy. And with that said, let me begin our chit chat section. Let me clear my throat. Hang on. That was good for me. Okay. So let's see what everybody is up to this morning. Tutti tutti tutti. Lots of good mornings, which I love to read. Yeah. Let's see. It's great to read, you guys. Always great to read all your good mornings from nearby and from other cities. Let's see. Oh, how wonderful. Airport duty later today to send adopted puppies to Canada for Sula Dog Shelter. Good for you, Harold. Thank you so much for contributing on this local tradition. Oh my, Sherry. Hello, Sherry. You have finished your adventure through Mexico. As you know, Sherry was here in Puerto Vallarta for a few months and then headed over to Guadalajara, where I enjoyed reading her accounts and looking at her photographs of what I hope was a beautiful, very successful trip. Let's see. Oh, I love this. Logan says, another day in high season, another guest that left their phone in a yellow cab. Hold on to your belongings, everyone. That is a very important reminder, or at least activate your phone's tracking feature. Let's see. Tooti tooti tooti. Do 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 do. Maggie S. and Peggy always nails it with her comments. Hypocrisy in politics is just astounding. Let's leave it at that. Pat comments, thank you for clarifying the voting issue. I read several articles but didn't understand. Let me tell you, Pat, even when Spanish is my first language, I don't understand many of them. So I will endeavor to continue deciphering this so that we can all be on a similar page. Then lots of announcements on my cables. I will check the cables right after the broadcast. Sound is terrible. That's a little harsh, Harold. Just saying. Let's see. Sound is terrible. Well, sometimes the weather is terrible. Let's see. A little low on the sound. Now very low. Screen froze. Oh my goodness. Today is a technology nightmare. Volume is softer. Can I serve you a cocktail with that? Okay. So going back to Paula's comment, don't you love all our instructions? Again, not instructions. I love the feedback, but not instructions. Let's see what else we have. Brian has already gotten his tickets for Mexican wine tasting. Good for you. Do I look happy with Dr. Simi? I love Dr. Simi. I have to hug Dr. Simi every time I see him. Don't ask. I know it's freaky. Start rumors. I don't care, but I do love my Dr. Simi. Thank you, Claude. I feel exactly the same way. I know that throughout my musical career, I have been supported by other musicians. So I think it's only a fair thing to do to pay forward and do the same thing. Mind you, let me just clarify. This is going to be a panel discussion. The musicians may be inclined, especially if we participate with wonderful questions, to perform maybe one, maybe two songs at the end, but this is not a concert. And I say that with the most sincere hope that other venues will offer the ensemble a performing opportunity at a venue, because we all should have the pleasure and privilege of hearing such an ensemble in a concert setting. But how nice it will be when that happens if we have a deeper appreciation and understanding of how the music works. Let's see. Curtis adds, you're very kind to promote them and educate the attendees. Well, if you feel that I'm being generous, Curtis, I will sincerely hope that all of us will partner in promoting, sharing, and publicizing this event. Again, it is to help a band and to help them thrive right after they have won this amazing first prize win at the So You Think You Can Rise competition. So if we all partner together, and once we start publishing the event and we start sharing it, I think we will all put a little bit of an effort in pushing them and thrusting them along their success. Let's see. Isn't that wonderful? The new pho restaurant across from Parque Cárdenas is amazing. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Let's see. I think we are done. So I am going to pop this and once again remind you, as always, that walking tours, daily broadcasts, music appreciation events, panel discussions, funky interviews, everything and anything that comes out of this universe is possible only because of your kind contributions of occasional coffees, your membership subscriptions to Coffee and Headlines. I am always grateful for that, but I am always happy also to remind you of that. A subscription, a membership to Coffee and Headlines is not expensive, and it guarantees that you will continue to have this type of information at your disposal moving forward. To those of you that are already subscribing members, I always thank you, and once again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And for those of you that haven't considered it, please go take a look at this link, which you can also find at the top of our discussion, our comments on every single broadcast. Have a great Wednesday. Expect a formal announcement of the panel discussion sometime later on today or tomorrow at latest. And of course, we'll be talking about it over the next few days. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.